Okay,
right, you ready?
I think it's time to go. Welcome to session 4, all about marketing. And I don't know about you all, but this is one of my favorite topics when it comes to anything regarding business. Before I turn it over to our moderator and co-host tonight, I just want to remind everybody, keep your videos on, keep your devices muted until you have a question. And I will be uploading this video. I am recording it for education and training purposes, so that'll be up on the Washington County Challenge Facebook page and our Washington County YouTube channel sometime in the near future. So again, I'm excited, and I am delighted to turn it over to Tanya Trippett with the town of Abington, and Tanya is going to be their moderator tonight. So Tanya, it's all yours.
Well, thank you very much. I am very excited tonight to introduce Christine Webb. She is with CWebb Consulting. We work with Christine quite a lot in the tourism department here in Abingdon, and have worked with her over the years in different capacities. She has now gone out on her own, started her own business, and she has brought some of her best partners in her business with her tonight. So you guys are in for a real treat on learning about marketing, building websites, videos, and all kinds of things. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Christine Webb and let her get us started.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christine, and I do own CWebb Consulting here in Abingdon. When I was asked to speak, I wanted to get a team assembled, and I've assembled a nice team of very bright women who can help me, because no one's a one-stop shop. You know, there are different aspects to marketing, and this team of women will speak to the many different things. First, we've got Sara Saveedra with Spring Collaborative. A little bit about yourself.
I wasn't ready for that. Hi, I'm Sara Saveedra with Green Spring Collaborative. I have worn many hats over the years. Currently, we are a branding, graphic design, and web design company, focusing on strategy and that sort of thing. So that's what I'll be talking about today.
Great. And then we also have Carrie Cannady with Starscape Media. You've been in business since 2007?
Yeah, 2007. So I'm starting to lose count. So it's kind of like when you start to forget how old you are. I'm kind of getting to that point, which feels good in some ways and scary in others. But I do video production, and I've spent plenty of time in Washington County over the years, lived in Abingdon, Emory, and Marion Smith County, but now I'm in Bristol, just across the line.
Okay. And I also have Hanna Eichin here, and she owns Spotted Color. She has actually done this program in the past, and she can speak to her direct experience as a small business owner. She has a brick and mortar store. So do you want to just say hello, Hanna?
Hello. I do have to apologize about my screen. I look purple. I didn't realize painting my wall yellow would do that to my face. So yeah, that's new. So I'll probably just talk about a little bit of experiences that I've had through marketing and things that I've tried and worked and not worked and all that.
Okay, terrific. If we could just go around the room here, just tell me like a one sentence about or one or two or three sentences about yourself and the business that you're wanting to open. I see some of you are not new, like Katie. I know you've been in business, but I don't know all of you, so I'd like to just call you out and just tell me a little bit about yourself and about the business that you're going to open. I'll start with you, Miss Janet Meadows.
You're muted.
I thought I was unmuted, but now I'm good. I'm Janet Meadows, and last summer I opened Mendota Expeditions, which is river tubing. After Venture Mendota closed, I just decided I would give it a shot, And I'm just wanting to build my business. It's just a one-woman show right now, and I just want to build it up.
Okay, good. All right, thank you for that. Let's go to Miss Janice Thayer.
Hi, it's nice to meet you, Christine. I currently own an interior architecture firm here in Abingdon, and what I'm looking to do is branch out into a retail storefront at some point and do a mix of vintage and repurposed and artist things from the area, all very carefully curated to attract unique buyers to the area, probably not local so much.
Well, I would say Abingdon's a great market for you. Are you thinking about a downtown location?
Yeah, ideally.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Let's go to Mr. J.B. Blevins.
Hey, Christine. I'm Jamie Blevins, and what I'm starting is a private investigation business. Just retired from law enforcement, 26 years, and so I'm looking to get a startup to continue that field.
And Mr. Clint Waddell, I know that you own a business now.
I've got Blue Mountain Therapy, and we're just looking to expand into more of non-medical field, so indoor playground, inflatable bounce house, possibly indoor putt-putt, and a commercial kitchen.
It says old boy. That sounds really exciting to me. Great. Katie?
Hey, I'm Katie Humphreys. I've got Sprout Consignment Shop here in Abingdon, which is a consignment shop for kids. We start with size preemie and go all the way up to junior sizes, and then we carry maternity stuff, toys, and equipment as well.
Great. Kitsy Manuel?
I currently own Love and Light Specialty Boutique. We are on Main Street. We carry women's, some children's clothes, but not very many. We also carry accessories, gifts. We also have a handful of vendors who make handmade items from the area.
Okay, nice. All right, Scott Little.
Hey guys, I'm Scott. I have a brand called Green Cove Collective, and I have two storefronts, one up here on the mountain on the Creeper Trail, old, kind of like an old general store with a twist, and then serving mostly tourism and bikers. And then I'm glad to see that Hanna's on here, because I'm pretty much your next door neighbor there around the corner. I'm on the old White Top Yoga Willow Tree Wellness building there. It used to be Pierce's Dry Cleaners. We opened up a really tiny little store front there about 6 weeks ago, and it's going really well. And there's a larger space, as everyone knows probably, because you've probably done yoga or know somebody who's done yoga there. It's a large space in the back, and we're going to open up a ticketed music venue, probably do 2 shows a month there, community-based music venue for the town of Abingdon, but also surrounding communities like Glade and maybe even like Marion and Bristol and Damascus. So be a fun place to come out and watch some music and grab a craft beer and meet all your friends and hang out. And so that's me.
Great, thank you so much. And Mr. Michael Price.
Mike Price, looking to do virtual tours for small businesses in the area.
Video? I guess, sorry, since it's virtual. Okay, great. Lori Briscoe, you're on here.
Hey, Christine. Yes, I have Appalachian. Hey, I have Appalachian Teas and Botanicals. I have a little storefront that opened December 2020. And I'm all about connecting people to place and plants of place. So it's sort of a bioregional approach to wellness, but it's also targeting, I guess, folks from far outside the region that really need to connect with place, to their sense of self, and how we do that through landscape. And gosh, I need all the marketing tips. All the marketing tips, Christine.
Well, I hope this is useful. Thank you, Lori. It's great to see you. All right, Derek Thomas.
Hey, I'm Derek Thomas. I have Derek's Diesel and Small Engine Repair. I do mobile repair, and we're in Abingdon, Virginia.
Okay. Good deal. Aaron Miller.
Yes. I own the Zerati shop down by the Food Lion, and we just help people grow and kind of get knowledge on cannabis and CBD and things of that nature. Kind of understand the benefits, the good, the negatives, the bad sides of it. What's good for people, what's bad for people. Get kind of educated, and I teach people how to grow. So we do classes. And, I offer everything from the soils to the nutrients to amendments and elements of the earth, and basically just get people educated.
Great. Very good. Christy Gillum.
Hello. I am looking at opening a bike shop in Mendota and an Airbnb.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Billy Roberts.
Oh, Billy's with Virginia Community Capital. I invited her to join Ann tonight.
Okay, what about Maury Reed?
She's with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Thank you guys for taking a minute to introduce yourself. I just kind of wanted to see who's in the room with us. It's always important to know your audience, and that's basically where it starts in marketing. You've got to know your audience, and you've got to know your goal. Whenever you do any kind of ad or messaging on Facebook, you know who. Is my internet being weird?
Yeah, you're a little bit of a robot, but we got knowing your market.
All right, maybe this will help. Does that sound a little better?
Yeah, the sound is better.
Okay. So it's always important to know and to know goal whenever you get into marketing. If you thing to everyone, it's not gonna go well. The best thing to do is be specific. In my experience, people don't want a lot of choices. They want to know exactly what you're going to provide and exactly how it's going to benefit them. I've got a little list of things that I'm going to go. Some of it, especially you businesses who like and Appalachian team. I feel like this is the groundwork for opening a new business. So I feel like it's important to talk about it. Number one, each of you need to look inside and ask yourselves, why are you starting a business and why should others care? Yes, you want to make money. We all have bills to pay, but you've got to think about it specifically. What are you bringing to the community that no one else can bring? I was just with a client and he was having a hard time just deciding the name of a new cafe he wanted to open. And we went back and forth as to what to call it. And finally, we had to sit down and say, why are you doing this? Why do you think this community needs this type of cafe? And after some thought, he realized that he's from Egypt. So in his country, there were these coffee shops and people would go hang out with their friends and family. They would play games. It would be a hangout spot. We started looking at, and what we decided on was the Rendezvous Cafe. It sounded international, which is what he was going for. He's going to serve French crepes and croissants as well as international coffee brands. But really think about and put on paper what your why is. Why do others
why are you doing this? So in other words, get your elevator pitch ready. It's not enough to open a mortar, get that. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here, and hopefully it won't mess anything up. All right. Can you guys see this? Okay.
We see now. Okay, now it's coming up.
Okay, so the Painted Sisters they're two sisters, and they wanted to open a reclaimed furniture business, and they're also selling these products, Iron Orchid design product, to help you make these fancy reclaimed furniture designs. When we started putting together the simple rack card, we wanted it to be pretty, but we also wanted to tell the story. And it all began when her daughter said, "Hey, Mom, do you think you can paint this?" So her story is, it was born out of necessity and blossomed into a lifestyle. Two sisters, Claire and Julie, have always loved things DIY. And when Clara's daughter needed to furnish her first apartment, she found old pieces that just needed some love and asked her mom to paint them. Together, they furnished that first apartment. Claire and Julie are happy to continue to rescue old furniture by giving it a fresh new look. Their mission is to give value to things that might otherwise be discarded. Now it's easy for you to do the same. Do you see what I mean? This is her story. This is her why. This is why, they wanted to start their own business. I'm going to bring this over to you. Same with Greek Grill Cafe. So Mustafa Ahmed moved here, and he loved the community. He knew that this is where he had to raise his family. He wants to bring unique dishes to Appalachia that people may have not experienced otherwise. So it doesn't have to be a story. Just, why are you doing what you're doing? Marketing 101. The goal of marketing is to sell more products. That's why marketing and sales go hand in hand. But marketing is so much more than just selling products. And Sarah's going to touch on that a little more when she talks about branding. But marketing is everything from when you go into a store, what it smells like, what music is playing, your customer service, how you interact with your customers, the type of fonts that you use, all of that is marketing. I was talking with Mustafa today, and he said a business without marketing is like a restaurant with no tables. So I'll let you think about that. I thought that was pretty cute. All right, 101, you have to have a logo. Your logo is not just one thing. There are various versions that you're going to need for your logo. I've got, let's see if this is going to work, examples of my logo. And I am putting together an Abingdon Restaurant Week right now, and you would not believe the amount of businesses that not know where their logo is or don't have it in the right format. So my designer has given me color folder and a black and white folder. She's given me a folder for web and a folder for print. So in the web version, it's on a transparent background and it's vertical. I also have horizontal in here because when you start putting your logo on different products, you're going to need different sizes. So my little CWebb right here, this right here, I have it separated. I have the logo without the social media marketing and promotions. It's good to have this package so you don't have to go track down a logo every single time somebody somebody asked you for one. All right. Another thing, okay, so here's a middle of my brand board. And, starting out, you don't have to get this deep, but like keep this in the back of your mind that this is what you're going to need. This just saves a lot of time from you going back and forth with whoever creates your logo. So you just don't have to worry about it. You know exactly where it is. Here, she gives me my colors. She's got the hex colors on there. So if you start creating something in an online design program like Canva, you'll know exactly what your colors are because you'll want them to match. She tells me what font to use. So that's that's a mood board. You'll need 2 different kinds of colors. RGB is good for web. CMYK is what you'll use in text. And that's about as far as my knowledge extends on colors because I am not a designer. I'm a strategist. But just to let you know, that's what you're going to need eventually. Now, as soon as your lease is signed or you purchase your building, claim your business on Google. I'll send this document to you guys so you have these ready links and because I made a link, here's how. And just for those of you who haven't claimed your business on Google or won't yet. So when I search CWebb Consulting, this little Google box pops up here. It's going to tell me the hours, the phone number. You get to see outside of my building. I'm up here above Anthony's Desserts. But that is the number one thing to do is claim your listing on Google. It's relatively simple, and Google allows you to update hours, put menus there, put products up there if you want to. It works a lot like social media in that you can do posts as well. And it will help with your SEO, just like mine. Like I don't pay for SEO, but I'm at the top of the list because I'm in Google. And Sarah might Sarah might speak a little bit more about this, but claim your domain. So as soon as you decide on a name, go ahead and get that domain claimed. What is a domain? The domain is the name of your website. It's also going to be your email. So you can have like xyzbusiness@gmail.com, but when you're ready to take that to the next level and get emails that say, Christine at CWebb Consulting or Sara at greenspringcollaborative.com or, really claim your place and make everything custom. Now let me go to the grid. Is everybody following me? Do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, I got a quick one. When you're going to create your actual website, so I do the Zerati Shop at Gmail, and I've already did the Google claim and everything, and then like they help me set up a website through Google. So it's like
yes.
when you Google it, it says website and a little call directions and stuff, and you click on a website. Now I have a website there, but that's not equivalent, correct?
Well, yes and no. So you're not going to have a custom name. So if you look at your website URL, it's have something in front of it. And it's going to, yeah. So that works for now, but eventually you will want to buy a domain and then get that switched over.
So if I already own the domain, so I already got the .com domain name, I bought it off GoDaddy. Could I use that to just transfer the name on my Google website?
I don't believe that Google allows you to do that. I believe that if you get a customer URL, you have to, and I may be wrong here. It's been a while. Greco's did the same thing. When I came on with Greco's, they had that Google My Business website.
But I'm saying, so if they click on a website, I want them to go to my actual website, not the one that Google made, if they're going to be different.
Right. You'll have to shut that down. And Sarah's a better speaker for this than I am.
Okay, awesome.
I'll just interject real quick. You can actually point your custom domain to your Google website, but the Google websites are a little limited in the kind of functions that you can do. So I would just say that's one of the things we'll talk about as far as budgeting and planning for your website in the future to get a full featured one.
Awesome.
Does that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Okay.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
Yeah. So, one thing I've run into an issue with Google is, and I've hit a wall like 4 or 5 times this past week, is I'm trying to add my new 6-week-old Abingdon location to Google, and I already have a store up here on the mountain that has hours, and it's on Google, and it's established. It's got reviews and pictures and all that. I'm having a hard time adding like a second location, and I know that's not something that we can do like obviously right here, but that might be something I might reach out to you guys to help me with. Like I'm hitting a wall to adding 2 Green Cove Collective locations in 2 different cities with different hours. And so right now, when you look up Green Cove, it shows Damascus, and people are getting confused because they know that they're looking for the store in Abingdon. So I'm hooking you guys up with that later.
All right. Well, I will say the first thing you need to do is have them send. Can you receive mail at your location, or is it a PO box?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can. So you need to sign up for them to send you a postcard, a verification.
Right. Okay.
And then the 2 locations will exist separately, and then you can connect them.
Okay. I think what's happening is they're both called the same thing, Green Cove Collective LLC, and it's not letting you sign up under that same name. It's requiring me to give it a different name, which I don't want to do. So I had to do the postcard for here on the mountain, and I knew that I needed to do that for Abingdon, but I'm not getting to the point where they can send it to me. So I might need you guys to like hold my hand a little bit.
Sure, I can help you with that, or Sarah, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sure.
I'm not trying to go off the screen. I just want to save this link that she just sent me.
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to keep my camera on.
Link. It's multiple locations. You might look in the chat there.
Okay. All right. So when you guys do get ready to like have emails for your employees that you want that's specific for your domain name, and again, all of this ties back to marketing and your online presence, how you present yourself to your clients or your customers. You want to seem legit, and you don't have to start out. This is where you want to be in the end, or hopefully not the end. This is where you want to be. So Google Workspace is a place that you can add users, and you can have your own drive space. You can share, documents with information, all of that. All right. Let's jump around a little bit and talk about the importance of reviews. And this is good. This is going to be good for the small engine repair guy, and it's going to be good for any sort of tourism business. It's going to be good for all of you, really. Because people trust what their friends and family tell them. So, and reviews are just kind of an extension of that. I want to show, so my client Starts Heating and Cooling. We send our texts out with a little card that says, please review us. We've got read our reviews at the very top of our website on the nav bar. So, you don't take our word for it. for it. Listen to what these other people are saying. So you can have plugins to your website that pulls these, like this one from Google, and these down here are for Facebook. So that's really helpful for people to be able to say that or see this. And then we've made it real easy for them to leave a review. So this.
Christine, I think we've lost you. Are you still there?
Who was going to follow Christine tonight on the team?
I think she had me next.
Okay.
She was almost done. She had a few more points, but marketing and branding was number 5.
Yeah, I think we lost her.
Okay.
So if one of you all want to continue, I'm just trying to get her off there. So if you want to take over the screen sharing, please feel free.
Okay. Back.
Oh, she's back.
Is she back?
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm sorry for the trouble. But anyway, that's a big easy way to build consumer confidence. Let's talk about Facebook, Instagram, and all the social platforms. You don't have to use them all, and I'm not telling you to use them all. Industry standards are pick 2 or 3 and do those really well. But what I'm going to tell you is claim your domain on each of the social platforms. If you ever think that you're going to use it, or even if you just want to save it for yourself, go ahead and claim your name on everything that you can, that might be relevant, or you want to make sure it's tied to your business. All right, let's talk about setting a budget. One of the main reasons that I went into business as a marketing consultant is in another life, I sold advertising. And I would approach people and I would say, here's a really great opportunity for you to increase business. Advertising is an investment. If you are not seeing a return on that investment, you're not doing it right. I'm not saying every little business card ad you're going to do is going to have a major impact on your business. It really is going to take a strategy. But one of my customers said, I've already wasted my budget for the year. And that just blew my mind. He'd already wasted his budget. So that told me he did not have a plan for what money he was going to spend and where. And Hanna can speak to this. When you're a small business, a lot of people come to you and say, hey, will you sponsor this? Will you sponsor that? And we have this, and it's for the kids, and feed the hungry kittens. You're going to get hit up on that angle consistently and constantly. So put together a little budget and decide, this is what I can spend. And then that way it's not personal that you're not going to sponsor something. It's a business decision. Any questions on budget? Usually I recommend 6 to 8% of your total operating costs to be set aside for marketing. And that's going to include your print materials like your business cards, your rack cards or your brochures, your in-store signage. Don't forget about your signage. Nothing's worse than a business that has, a great space and they have room for a big sign and then they have this teeny weeny little sign. It just, think about that. You don't have to buy the best thing, but, as you're budgeting and in your business plan, make sure that marketing is not an afterthought. Marketing is an investment that will give you a return if done right. It's kind of all over the place, but I wanted to give you guys like a bird's eye view of how to think about marketing. Yes, it's ads, it's ad buys and creative and messaging, but the foundation is built here. Any questions?
I have a question. Before you left, you were talking reviews. Could I ask a question on that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I have my buddy over at Highland Arms told me to turn the reviews off on my social medias, like Facebook reviews. I've had a whole bunch of really good ones, and I haven't had a bad one yet. But he says that one bad one will ruin you. So should I leave them off on Facebook?
I don't agree with that at all.
No? Because I go through people's
I don't
reviews,
agree with that at all.
My first thing I look for is the bad one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we get bad reviews on Gricos. One lady said that she wouldn't feed our food to her worst enemy. But, that review is in there with hundreds of other positive reviews. So, maybe she was having a bad day. I don't know. I don't engage with those types of reviews. If they had a bad experience, this is your chance to fix it. And transparency is always, respected. So,
okay. I thought it was outlandish, but I had to ask.
Sara, do you want to speak to that?
I mean, the first thing I look at as a consumer is reviews, obviously, and you can go through them just on Amazon. And what I'm looking for is someone who's like me, who maybe has similar concerns about the product and what they said about it. Did it only last 3 months, or did it fit right, or did all these kinds of things. And so even those 3-star reviews might be something that leads me to think like, oh, well, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about price. And so I'll buy it anyways, so I think as long as you're treating your customers right and you're reaching out for reviews from those clients that will give you a positive review, if you have all 5-star reviews and 30 of them say, people are going to be a little suspicious because nobody is that good. So
true.
Okay.
And some people make a sport of it. You should, if you ever get a chance to look over on Facebook on Rain Restaurants, their bad reviews become like this. I don't recommend this, but it's entertaining to watch. Like his loyal customers will come in and start fighting the person. So I mean, that's a brand.
That is a very, very good point, Sara. Let your customers, if they want to, don't pick a fifth, with someone, take the conversation offline. Say, I'm sorry for this experience. Will you email me more information? Take the experience offline. You don't want to go by more response to that. But all right. Well, I'm gonna loop back around after we hear from Sara, Carrie, and Hanna. And then I'll talk about community partnerships and how you can leverage those to help each other. Sara?
Okay. I forgot to unmute myself before I shared the screen and I couldn't find it. Sorry about that. So we're going to talk about website and branding. So I'll go in probably a little deeper to the branding stuff than you're really interested in. So I'm going to kind of flip through some of it. And if you want to stop me at any point, we'll definitely do some questions here. So, I start with branding because although I do, website design and some marketing strategy, definitely not on the level that Christine does it. for me, it's all about that organic marketing, which is really about your brand voice and who you are. And it's not just your logo, right? It's not just that visual that you have. Of course, that's important. But as Christine showed, it's also the colors. It's also the font. It's also what you say, right? So everybody has probably already thought of a little tagline for their business or something like that. But whatever it is, everything that you put out there that has to do with your business is part of your brand. The way you answer reviews is part of your brand voice. All of these kinds of things really play into each other. And the most important thing is that it's easily identifiable, right? And I've got like right here on the side, Walmart's brand, right? You see that blue repeated over and over. You see, the same kind of fonts used and the same friendly atmosphere and, things like that. So it establishes credibility, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see a commercial online, I know before it's even given me the pitch, whether it's Geico, right? Because it's hilarious, or whether it's Target because it's uplifting and people are gathering together, or whatever it may be. That's what we're talking about when we talk about brand. And I pulled out another example here because you've got Ben and Jerry's, right? They're known for their wacky flavors, but they're also known for their social activism. That's a really important part of their brand. So you've got bright colors, that recognizable font, right away, a lot of hand-drawn items, kind of collagey. They've got a whole system here for sure. But you see right next to all of their delicious flavors of ice cream that make you want to eat it, they've got a little blurb here about the prison industrial complex, right? It looks friendly, as Ben and Jerry's is, but they have still found a way to use their brand voice consistently to talk about the things that they are the most concerned about. So how do you find your brand voice? Well, that's a little trickier. So it, when Christine was talking about, sort of digging into the Two Painted Sisters and that is something I would call a brand positioning statement, right? Where they fit in the climate, what they want to do, how they want to treat their customers, all that kind of stuff. So spend some time getting to know your voice as the business person, right? As your whole business, and position yourself by asking some questions. So first, making a list of adjectives that describe your brand. It could be passionate, authentic, quirky, healthy, trustworthy. It could be a lot of different things. How would you describe your competitor's personality? Sometimes that's a good place to start, right? We know a competitor or someone in a similar field. How are you different from them? Sometimes the brand positioning statement is best when it's setting how you set yourself apart. So, and then based on those characteristics, take each one and describe your brand voice using those adjectives. And then we like to say list do's and don'ts. So let's go to this next slide. And I'll share this with you guys if I'm going super fast, but here's just an idea of, you've asked yourself these questions, that your brand is passionate, authentic, and friendly. Those are the top three that you picked out. So the description is, we're passionate about getting more people outdoors. The brand voice do's using words like strong verbs and nouns like champion, be the cheerleader. So if you're passionate, that needs to come out in the things you're saying in your marketing with strong verbs and cues like that. Voice don'ts, don't be wishy-washy, lukewarm, and don't use a passive voice. Okay. So we get to the same thing here with authentic, friendly. If friendly is one of your brand voice attributes, then you don't want to ignore customer questions or comments, right? Or be negative about other brands or customers. So kind of digging down into that is really helpful. I know it seems like a lot, but if you do it, it can be really helpful as you go forward with your putting together marketing or working with someone who's going to help put it together for you, because then they can get it right, and they could be consistent. And that's how you build authority in whatever your business field is. People want to know that they can trust you to do something or provide something for them that they can't do for themselves. Okay. So we'll start to get into website basics here. And I've got Blue Mountain Therapies up here. And you can see that we definitely have a color palette, right? We've got the blues and we've got the greens. We even have the colors in the photography that we've used on the website. But also we have a brand positioning statement right here, putting patients before profit. And then again, here we serve the community by being a good neighbor. These are things that are so important. Yes, they provide therapy. Yes, they provide it for all ages in home. All of that, all of those details are super important and they're on the website, but they're not what's going to draw people in. The first thing is telling the story of who your business is. Okay. So your website should tell the story. And I say on this slide, design for function, because, you know, a lot of people sometimes will get so caught up in a cool looking design and trying to replicate it that they forget that their website needs to work. It needs to work for the user. And so putting yourself in the visitor's shoes and really trying to think through what they're looking for, what questions they want you to answer for them, and telling them, you know, weaving in your brand story is really important. So I like to ask my clients, what are the 5 most important things your website needs to do? Now, that could be events, you know, it could be tickets. It could be just generating leads and getting people's email addresses. It could be a number of things, but really trying to dial down to what the 5 most important things your website needs to do for you is super important, because then that will determine everything. The platform you use, whether it's, you know, I just need people to find me. So maybe a Google, you know, website is just fine. Or maybe it's more complicated. Maybe you have an Airbnb that you'd like direct booking for, and not just living on the Airbnb platform. And then you get more complicated there, and that will determine what kind of functionality you're looking for. Some essential things are, of course, your logo, the tagline. NAP is what we call name, address, phone. A menu. So the menu up here at the top that kind of helps people know what they can expect and find on your website. A call to action is so important. And I'm sure Christine would say the same thing with marketing, but it's important also on your website, is to make sure that you have clear call to actions. Right here on this website, we have the getting started, because that's the hardest part, right? When you're looking for physical therapy or something, is where the heck do you start? So whatever that call to action is, really kind of nail that down. And it may be more than one, but trying to pick the most important one, putting that up top, and then saving other calls to actions for appropriate pages. Also important on your website is proof of authority. So bringing in some of those reviews, bringing in some testimonials, a positioning statement, as we talked about earlier, links to your social media, because, you know, I don't know about you guys, but one of the first things I do if I'm visiting a new town is go on Instagram and look up the hashtag for that town, right? And look up what other people are doing and where they're eating. And if a restaurant doesn't have an Instagram, I probably will pick one that does, where I can see photos of food that I know I like. So just think about that. And then also, if your industry has awards that you've won, or if you've won a Best of Virginia, or if you have other kind of, you know, certifications that give you clout in your field, then make sure to add those too. And then the most important one that so many people forget is to make sure your website is mobile responsive. And, you know, this little statistic here, I think, is actually probably a couple years old, and it really does depend on your industry. But in general, over 60% of websites are viewed on mobile devices. So don't lose the credibility you've worked so hard to put out there by having a crazy looking website on a phone, right? Because if someone is looking for you on their phone and they get to a website that they can't navigate, or things are on top of each other, or the logo is gigantic, you're going to lose some credibility there. And that's the most important thing with a website, is that it builds credibility. Does anyone have any questions for me? Okay. So next, budgeting for your website. So it's really hard to say how much you should spend on your website because there is not a one size fits all. Some folks really need some really complicated functions, and some folks just need a pretty simple website. What some folks think is a pretty simple website is actually pretty complicated when you get down to what it needs to do and if there's any automations. And so I'll just go over kind of the basics, right? For if you're brand new and starting, you don't have money yet for a fully customized, Cadillac of a website, where you need to start. So as Christine talked about, is that domain. And one thing that I run into all the time is not only, clients not having their logo files or correct logo files, is they also don't have control over their domain. So that is usually in the case of folks who are taking over for a business or an organization, and maybe inherited something that they have no idea where the domain lives, what email it's registered under, what credit card is registered under. And a lot of times it's because they just had another company do it for them. So as you are going through this, even if you hire someone to build your website for you, go ahead and buy your domain yourself, because making sure that you have all of that contact information, it is a nightmare to try to find out who owns a domain. So like if you go with someone, they buy the domain for you, and then you switch, who's building your website in 5 years, and they're out of business, or you have no idea how to get in touch with them, you're kind of up the river without a paddle. Hosting is another thing. And when we say hosting, so my, brains go numb when I start talking about some of the stuff. So stick with me here. But the domain is the name of your website. The hosting is basically, where it lives. So the domain's the address, the hosting is the property. Okay. So the cost varies widely depending on platform and the features. So you can get very simple hosting that through WordPress or something else like that, that might not cost you more than, $10 to $25, $30 a month. But if you have any kind of intense features, like e-commerce is a really good example here, or video, like really heavy video, embeds on your website, you're going to need hosting that is really fast, which means you'll probably be off of shared hosting, which is kind of cloud-based hosting, and be looking for a dedicated server. And in that case, you could go up to, $100 a month. Now, there are also folks who will host, like I host websites for some of my clients and then add on some maintenance features for them. And so we bundle it all together. And, those can range anywhere from 150 to 250 or so a month, or even higher, depending on what you wrap in with maintenance. It might just be a couple hours of updates, or it might be like pretty heavy updating, depending on what kind of staff you have. Next would be a plugin license. And so the domain is annual. Hosting is usually per month, but that's ongoing as long as your website is up. And then plugin licenses. So if you're using e-commerce and you're using a plugin, you'll probably be paying, $30 a month. You may be paying annually. But then also if you're using a website like Wix or Squarespace, they're great for putting out typical information. But when you get more complicated, you do, like if you do booking, for example, like with Willow Tree Wellness, when they were in business, they used Wix to do all of their yoga classes. Well, that was an extra fee in order to have that booking system installed on their website and that functionality. So something like that might cost you more like $250 annually. It does bundle in hosting, though, on sites like Wix and Squarespace, so you don't have to worry about that. So there are, pros and cons to that. Now, other fees, if your brain is already hurting, that means that you might look to hire out for some of this kind of stuff. So design, of course, and that will really just depend on who you hire and their availability, and if they're really specialized in a certain kind of niche. But it can range. I would people are always surprised. So I think I would expect anywhere from 1,500 as a lowest for a full design, on up to, depending on the, if you have a really big e-commerce site with hundreds of products, you might be looking closer to $10,000 to $15,000. So just kind of keeping in mind as you grow your business, if you decide to grow big like that and get into e-commerce platform, you might want to make sure that what you're building now is something you can build on, so that the money that you spend isn't totally wiped clean and started over. Folks will also pay for search engine optimization, photography, videography, maintenance, like I mentioned before, and security backups. Okay. I've already taken up too much time, I feel like. So we'll just go through this real quick. Top 5 DIY website mistakes that you don't have one. Facebook page is not a replacement for a website. Trust me. Hard to read text, whether you're putting it over photos, like in the example, or it's too small or it's too twirly. Your website needs to be easy to read fonts. Unclear proposition, that you are not showing your brand story and what you offer to the community, the no mobile design, and of course, poor quality photos. So that's just more about mobile responsiveness. Make sure you answer your users' questions in your brand voice with your personality, using consistent fonts and colors, having clear calls to action, and making sure that you have your contact information and your hours, hopefully in your footer, if you have hours. Of course, photo quality matters. If you don't have access to good photos, you don't have the budget for a photographer, you can buy stock photography, but make sure you have proper licensing. I can't tell you how many people I've heard horror stories of them pulling an image off the website, or off the World Wide Web somewhere, and then later down the road, Getty Images slaps them with a $5,000 lawsuit. So make sure if you purchase stock photography that you keep the license and that you know that you can use it on a website. And search engine optimization is very complicated, but the thing you need to know, of course, is that Google My Business Listing is really important. Using keywords, so making sure that as you figure out your brand voice and your positioning statement, that you use those phrases and those words a lot. An alt tag is something most website builders will have available to you, that as you upload a photo, you have a little thing, like a little box where you can put an alt tag. And all an alt tag is it tells Google what the image is of. So for example, with this photo, the alt tag might be laptop with magnifying glass sitting on top to I'm just doing this off the top of my head, to illustrate the importance of search engine optimization, right? So you try to plug a keyword in there, but you really are describing the photo. And this is for visual impaired folks as well as for search engines. And every few months, kind of make sure you're looking on Google and seeing how you're ranking. There are tools that you can pay for to find this out also, but you can also just kind of informally do it for yourself, especially if you're a local based business and you're not worried about, being on Google everywhere, the top of the list. All right. I'll include this for you guys, but this is just some stuff that Christine has already gone over. I encourage everyone to have a blog and an e-newsletter on their website, an e-newsletter sign up. I have a client that started with me a couple of years ago. They already had a pretty good business. They had steady clients and were making enough money, but she decided to get on social media in a consistent way with her brand voice, and also add an e-newsletter and, do all her Google and search engine optimization things. And in 2 years, she's quadrupled her business. So it matters. The effort matters. And she didn't pay a ton for a really fancy website. That's not where she put her effort. So really just thinking where you can maximize your efforts is really important. All right. And this is just some free resources. I always recommend Facebook Business Suite to anyone who doesn't know about it, because I sit down for a full month and schedule my post out, and I don't have to look at it again for another month. So, and I think Hanna does the same thing. And that's me. So I think that's it. I think I'm done speed talking if anyone wants to ask any questions.
That was so helpful, Sarah. That was really, really great. Anybody have any questions?
I thought that was really, really well done. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. You can tell you're a graphic designer.
I'm actually not the graphic designer, but I put together elements really well. Mark is my partner and he does all the logo design. So the CMYK, I don't even talk about it. That's his job.
It all looked really good. Well put together. Very, very, very informative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm just going to vouch for the work that Sara has done. So, she pulled up our web page, but she has the ability to bring in the videographers and to tell a story. So to me, that was kind of the biggest part of what I feel like that we benefited from the web page design, was really trying to tell that story and get the emotional connection. And she does give you all the information. And if anything, she keeps pushing you like, hey, you need to send me your updates this month, which, yeah, I know I still need to get them to you, Sara. Thanks.
Yeah. Gosh, you got experts here, guys. Be sure to ask any questions that you think you might have.
All right.
Everybody good?
All right, y'all. Now I'm going to hand it over to Carrie Cannady with Starscape Media. She's going to talk about video, the importance of video, and how she uses videos to tell a story.
Thank you, Chris. Such good information here tonight. I've been making some notes on my own. Small business ownership is not for the faint of heart, eh? There's a lot of stuff that we need to keep up with and do, and I'm learning a lot from this session. So what Clint just said was a great lead-in for my segment tonight, because he was talking about the importance of telling your story, and what Christine said earlier about the elevator pitch and taking your brand and narrowing it down to an elevator pitch. And that's a big part of, when I first started doing video 20 years ago, oftentimes we would meet a client and they would want an overview video to tell their story, to kind of encapsulate their business and what they do. And then that would be that, that video would serve them well, hopefully for 3 or 4 or 5 years. And then they'd want a fresh update, down the road. Well, gone are those days. Now it's like video is a really hot topic, and it's more about content creation and keeping a content flow than anything. So the business is definitely changing a lot, but I think video is a huge part of marketing in this day and age, just because it is such a powerful medium. There's nothing else that can express, putting sight and sound together and making it easy for the viewer to digest information, because you don't, we can sit there and scroll on our phones and you just stop and watch, you just take it all in. So I think that's a reason that video is so critical and so key in marketing efforts today for businesses. But I feel like, video can also be kind of overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me sometimes, because we serve a lot. My business is called Starscape Media, and we serve a wide variety of clients, from big corporate clients to small businesses and everything in between. And, everybody has different needs. Everybody has different uses for video. So I think you really have to dig deep, as some of these other ladies have said tonight, and identify, what your message is and what your story is. And I think just having video is important in this day and age. It's such a big part of your marketing and your brand. It's important to have, it's important for SEO purposes, and to keep your message out there no matter what portal you're using. But yeah, there's a gazillion ways that you can utilize video for your business. I was just thinking about some of your businesses and listening to your introductions tonight. And I know there's a fellow on here that's doing virtual tours, and that's a great business. There's a real need in this day and age for virtual tours for a variety of businesses. I think I always think of real estate first in that regard, but I think any business could really benefit from a virtual tour, or taking it back to that overview video of here we are, this is who we are, this is what we do. I know Aaron Miller, you mentioned that education is a big part of your business. So I think you could really benefit from video from an educational standpoint, and maybe building some videos out that are that just educational, telling people about your product and kind of elevating you to that expert sense where you start to gain credibility and people start to look to you and your business for that. So video is a great way to make that connection with your clients, potential clients.
So we do classes on Sundays. I actually opted out to record them because I didn't know, because it's a big stigma still, and I didn't want to make people mad by promoting it too much. I know that once it kind of breaks a little bit more, because nobody said nothing when I was doing CBD, but it's getting different now. So when I start really getting into the classes, people are really showing up and they're joining. And so I'm going to do a couple more classes throughout the week. But I thought that I might get harassed more if I went the video route.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I might be doing too much. Is there a point to when you do too much?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's wise. I think it's good to tiptoe into those waters sometimes. But in your case, then perhaps you just want to use video as a tease, even a tease for those in-person sessions that you do. But yeah, I think, for any business, video is a way for you to put yourself out there and to gain credibility, no matter what your message is, and kind of position yourself as that expert. But another use for video can be graphic driven. It can be motion graphics. And, in this day and age, we're so often scrollers, and a lot of video has become silent. It's like we're going backwards to the days of silent film. It's like a lot of video today is created to be silent and to have captioning or to have text on screen that will present a message to those that are just literally scrolling their feed, but it's something that kind of pops out, jumps out, and grabs your attention. Some good news. I was talking earlier about how video is kind of overwhelming in this day and age, or can be overwhelming. But I think two of the hot topics for video in 2022 bring us good news when it comes to simplifying things a bit, because we're getting away from highly produced video content, and people are going more towards what's real and what's raw and what's authentic. And I think that's been an interesting shift for me as a video producer and a business owner. It's like I've spent a lifetime, crafting production techniques, and now it's like people want to go back to video that looks raw and that doesn't look produced. So I think that can be to your advantage as a small business owner that's wanting to take advantage of video in this day and age, because you really, you can literally shoot video with your phone, and you can put content out there that is simple but that is authentic. I think you just want to maybe tiptoe into those waters, as you were saying, Aaron, because it's like you can do a lot of damage too with improper messaging, or saying too much. You can kind of alienate your people at times. Authenticity is huge right now, and brevity is huge because our attention spans are shorter and shorter. So that's a good thing about video today. I encourage almost all of my clients, if they come to me and say, I want a 5-minute video, I'm like, actually, you probably want like a 90-second video, and a lot can be said in a short amount of time. So those are two things to consider in this day and age, is just raw content, authenticity, and brevity. Chrissy touched earlier on picking your portals when it comes to social content. I would say the same for video. It's really hard, especially as a small business owner, to be everywhere and to treat all those portals or all those marketing areas with the same kind of attention. So I thought her advice was great on pick your portal and then do it well. And I see a lot of people building YouTube channels these days, and it's really, I think those that are doing that well, you pay attention to the details. When you're building a YouTube channel, you pay attention to the thumbnails, and we've all seen those thumbnails of like crazy poses that get trapped, and that's the little tiny image that people see, So I think just paying attention to the details, writing descriptions, that's going to help you with SEO when you're getting your videos out there. And yeah, just picking your portals and trying to give them the attention that they need. And yeah, just a constant flow, gone are the days of one video and you're done for 5 years. You want to keep that constant flow. And that's where I think, people come to me all the time and say, well, should I create my own content or should I hire it out? And I think it really depends. I mean, I'm constantly encouraging people, go for it. YouTube universities out there, you can learn to do any of these things. We've all got great cameras on our phones. We can edit on our phones. There's a lot you can do, but I'll also say video is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, and you can learn it, but it does take a lot of time. So in some cases you are better off to just hire it out, especially if you're like me, like I tend to keep to a deadline if I'm being hired for projects, but it's harder for me even on my marketing my own business to keep up with things. Sometimes, even though I have the capability to do certain things, it's better off for me to hire that out. So that's kind of a quick overview of kind of what I wanted to share tonight, but totally open for any questions or conversations you guys want to have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About like drone footage. Like, how important is that becoming in video these days? I mean, I see a lot of it, obviously, and so is that something that we're going to see more of? Is that a trend that's important?
Great question. Yeah, that's something that I'm kind of waiting to see play out too. We definitely, in my business, we utilize drone footage. There's a lot of in some senses, it's easy to just go out and buy a drone and start capturing some really cinematic, amazing footage. I will say, there are a lot of practicalities with drones that get a little crazy, and the FAA is constantly changing their rules and regulations, and there's a lot of factors to consider, a lot of safety hazards that you can get into with drones. So I'm interested to see if the FAA is going to continue to let everybody fly in the same manner that they have in the last few years, or if they're going to start to crack down on that a little bit more. But, right now we have that capability where pretty much anybody can fly a drone and get some great content that way. So yeah, I think drones are for now here to stay, and definitely a great way to capture, particularly for you being up at Green Cove. That's like, that's where I go to fly my drone for fun. So yeah, you're in a great spot.
Yeah, we've been thinking about doing some drone footage up here on the mountain, and I think it's a good place to do it. I just wanted to kind of pick your brain about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say too, who's the audience and what's the goal? Like for you, it makes perfect sense. I have an HVAC client, not so much, but I have a general contractor who wants to get those wide shots of these, huge 4,000 or however many square feet buildings. So it just really boils down to who's the audience and what's the goal. And any other questions for Carrie?
I had one, which I don't know if it's very specific or not. As far as for us that are sort of doing our own thing with videos, what do you think is the best forum for posting those? Like, I have a YouTube account, but I don't really necessarily use it that often. Like, I go on Instagram and do reels that then I can like directly share to Facebook. I don't know what the best place to start with, because I know you can kind of share across all sorts of different social media forms, but I didn't know as far as like the bells and the whistles, what's the best one to use, I guess.
So I think it goes back to what Chrissy was just saying about the audience, because every portal has a different audience. You're going to have a different audience on TikTok than you're going to have on Facebook or Instagram even. So who is your audience? Can we talk about that a little bit with your business?
I mean, I would say the majority of my customers are my age. So we're still like Facebook hard, strong, but I think there's a couple of like Instagram, kind of like younger moms that we're picking up. But for the most part, a lot of my clients are still Facebook, kind of dabbling in the Instagram, but I would say the majority are there on Facebook. So I guess what I've been doing is like, I have also a TikTok account, but I don't really use it because it's, I guess, more difficult to share from TikTok and then to bounce to Instagram to then Facebook. So I just didn't know which I guess, avenue would be best for that.
Here's what I'm going to say about your YouTube channel. So if you were to do a virtual tour of your store and you wanted to put that on your website, it's most likely going to have to be on YouTube. It's going to be, live on YouTube, and then you can plug it into your website. So that's handy to have. But yeah, as far as like pushing out content on YouTube on a regular basis, I love what you've been doing on your reels and on your little videos. Yeah, it's always fun. Whoever told you to do that was right. So kudos to them.
Yes, thank you. It's so uncomfortable, but I guess it's worth it. Thank you, guys.
Is there anything else, Carrie?
Not on my end.
Well, thank
you guys for having me.
Extremely helpful. Thank you so much. And you kind of set us up for our next speaker, Hanna Eichin. When it comes, we're all small business owners here, and when it comes to promoting ourselves, sometimes we're not that good at it, and it takes a lot of time. And with that, not to be discouraging, but to keep it real, Hannah's going to tell us a little bit about some ways that I'm just going to stop talking and let Hanna talk.
Great. So I run my business entirely by myself. So I am the smallest of small businesses. Like, I am the marketing, I'm the, person standing behind the register. I'm selling art supplies. That's what I do. And so I had a plan for my social media. I was like, I'm going to do TikTok. I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to have this, that, and the other. I'm going to do all these things. And I got into the nitty gritty of it. And I was spending 3 days out of my week trying to create content for all these locations. I was struggling to get it going. I still struggle to this day trying to keep these things coming out consistently. It's a lot. Email marketing takes a lot of time and effort. I mean, you're talking about trying to be a brand in an email. Like, how does that transition into come to our sale, we're a brand? It takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of time and energy put into this, creating the pictures to put in there, because you don't, again, want to steal photos because you can get slammed with lawsuits. It is time intensive. And so setting aside that time to set up all of your branding packages, getting those fonts, those colors, all of those things together, having that ready to go so that when you're creating that content, you can do it as fast as possible. And then also making sure that you're creating that content so that you can cross share it with Instagram, with Facebook, if you are doing multiple places, making sure that all your picture formats are going to be Instagram friendly. So when you upload your Facebook image to Instagram, you don't cut off your head, keeping an idea of all of those types of different formats is really helpful to make that just go really fast and be able to reuse content, because not everyone looking at Instagram is going to see your Facebook, and not all of those people on social media are going to see your emails. Being able to reuse content is great. It's my go-to. I've been really bad about emails. It's tough to keep up with. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see what else I have to say on this. Was not terribly prepared today. Reminding people about stuff that's happening. If you are doing a sale, if you are doing really anything, like class, an event, if you're telling people that I offer this service, reminding them constantly that you do those things is really helpful, because though it took you an hour to create that one Facebook post, it's 1 second of that person's day that sees it. It's just a blip in their day. I mean, how many reminders have you set for yourself to get something done, to accomplish a task? Think about that. How many times did I have to see someone else's class before I actually signed up? Keeping an idea of reminding your audience members, multiple posts, creating events on Facebook, keeping all of those discussions up to date, keeping people engaged is really useful, because it's a blip in their day. They'll see it and they'll forget it in 10 minutes, because there's so much content coming at them, especially nowadays with COVID. There's a lot of content being thrown in our faces, a lot of emails, a lot of videos. It's a lot. Yes. So staying active, keeping those things in their face, making sure people know you exist, classes that you're doing, events that you're doing, all of that. Another big thing that I am into is any kind of free marketing that I can get my hands on. I say yes to interviews in newspapers. I say yes to being a donation drop center for the Girl Scout group. I say yes to all of this because those people are coming to my store, they're seeing the stuff in the store. They may not be interested right now, but maybe in a week they'll be like, oh, I really need some white paint. And so they'll come back. Just that kind of guerrilla marketing and just being in their face all the time. I also am really into sending customers to other stores and informing those stores that I am sending customers to their stores. This is more useful for retail people. Some of the service industries I'm not super familiar with. That's not really my thing. But just saying, like, talking to your customer and they mention, oh, we just moved here. Say, oh, well, there's a store down the street that sells great home decor. Or I'm renovating my bathroom. Oh, there's a really awesome cabinetry shop down the street that's also local that you should check out, and engaging with them. And then they kind of get this friendly atmosphere from you in the store. And then they also are going to frequent other shops. And hopefully, if all goes well, those shops will then start sending some of their customers to you. So it kind of is a give and take. And so I also want to drive home the point that partnerships like that have to be a two-way street. So if you are not getting response from those other people, if you've been asked to do something for another business and they aren't giving anything back to you, just stop doing it. It's not worth it. I've been asked many times to come to other businesses to do events, but then they're not really interested in bringing their customers to my store. It's not super helpful. So it always has to be a two-way street. And that's the same if someone asks you, let's partner up. Don't forget that you also have to reciprocate or you're going to burn some bridges. And that's kind of some of the marketing discoveries that I've had doing this. I also want to mention that my social media accounts tend to hit transplants, people who are moving here, and visitors more often than people who are local. I don't know why that is. Maybe that's just the way that mine's getting out there, the people that it's attracting. It's just a commentary on what I've noticed, that it's definitely more transplants and visitors on Facebook, Instagram, those types of things. Word of mouth is more local. I guess locals just don't like the internet. I don't know. So yeah, that was my quick rundown because I know we're running short on time. Were there any questions or was there anything, Christine, that you wanted me to cover that I didn't hit on?
I think, it does take a lot of time, but that time does pay off.
Oh yeah, it does.
I love how you mentioned, you're a blip on the radar, but like I've signed up for a class or two, just because you kept reminding me that it was happening. So that's really important. It's not wasted time. Anybody have anything for Hanna as a small business owner who opened during a pandemic?
Any advice I can give you, or yeah.
Hanna was also the winner of the challenge the year that she participated. So she might have some insider tips for that too, if anybody has any questions.
Scott, I saw you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm just excited that we're neighbors.
Me too. I've been in your store. It's lovely.
I'm gonna come see you this week. I just think we can collaborate in so many ways. I mean, we're literally like 150 yards from each other. So yeah, Hanna, I'm glad that we got that I'm in good company and that we're and then like Christine, your store is, I can see your window from my window.
Oh yeah.
you can spy on me. So I have to always be on my best behavior because you can see. Yeah,
I guess
so
you can see me too, though. But if you're mom,
if I tried real hard. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just feeling like kind of like all the warm and fuzzies here because and then all the people in Mendota trying to do cool things. I mean, because I have a store out here on the Creeper Trail, and I know I've told you guys this before. I think maybe it's the first session we had. I mean, I'm just excited about what you Mendota folks are going to experience on the Mendota Trail because it has the ability to become like the next sister to the Virginia Creeper Trail, and people can come here and knock out 2 trails. They can knock out 3. They can do the New River, they can do the Virginia Creeper, and they can do the Mendota all in a weekend, if they really wanted to. So I don't know. I'm feeling kind of the warm and fuzzies about all the stuff that's going on. And I love the idea of collaboration, Hanna. I think it's important, and I think you and I probably need to, team up in some big ways. So anyway, that's all. Nothing crazy. I just wanted to say, hey, I'm excited.
Janice, I saw your name. Your hand was up.
Yes, I just wanted to compliment you. I follow you on Instagram, and you do an excellent job. I think you go well beyond what a lot of people do, and I think you do it successfully. And as Christine was saying, I think it was, or Sarah, you do bring brevity, so it keeps you tied into what your postings are. So I just wanted to compliment you because I think you're doing an awesome job.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Because it doesn't always feel like I am.
Very good.
Janet, you've got your hand raised, I think.
Janet.
Oh, you're muted, Janet.
I've got to learn to unmute better. I've just got a couple of questions. First off, I was a brand new business back last summer too. And I'm wondering, I'm trying to find the cheapest ways to advertise and build it, because I'll run into people and they'll say to me, I've never heard of you. That's fun and everything, but what would be the best way? So I did brochures last year and I distributed them to other small businesses. I had about 4 or 5 places in mountain sports and Country Corner Market and a few places. And I'm just wondering, should I focus my energy more on something like that? Or should I be more focused on Instagram? Because I'm not an Instagram user or a Twitter user, any of that stuff. I've got to learn to do it. I am a Facebook user and I do have a Facebook page and I do have a Google account set up and an actual GoDaddy site. But I'm just wondering, are the brochures worth my time, you think?
I think that really depends on some of who you're trying to attract. Are you trying to attract the younger crowd? Because that's going to be more social media. If you're trying to attract an older crowd, I think the brochures are really useful. I know a lot of people come in, the older crowd is really thankful that I do have brochures so they can look me up on my website later. They really like that. So it kind of depends on who you're trying to market to, I think. But I do both.
Hannah's absolutely right. You just got to think about who's the audience and what's the goal. Okay. And I'd be happy to sit down with you for 30 minutes and just kind of hash out, because it's hard. There is no golden egg that I can, of knowledge that I can give you in this moment, but I'm happy to sit down and, talk about your goals and your budget with you as a participant of the Washington County Business Challenge.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And as we get the new visitor center open at the corner of Main and Cummings at Fields Penthouse, there'll be opportunities for you guys to be able to put rack cards in that center. So as we get visitors inside there, they'll be able to get your information.
Clint, you had your hand raised.
Good deal. That lead. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think Clint had his hand up. Clint, did you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I've worked with Hanna, and Hanna does do a great job of really trying to come on site and to try and partner with folks. So she's not just saying it; she really does back up that community mindset there.
I just want to say I think that's awesome, and kudos to you, Hanna, for excelling with your small business. And I remember you told me, I think you started the week of the pandemic, right? So
yeah, opening day was the day all the restaurants shut down.
Quite an amazing story. I'm going to leave you guys with this last thought on the cross-pollination. That was one thing that I was going to talk about actually with video, and I think it applies to social media in general, is that cross-pollination that you're talking about, going to business is so powerful in person, but that can translate too into the social world, because if X person has 5,000 viewers and this person has 5,000 viewers, and you start to cross-pollinate there. So really cool.
And that is an excellent segue into the next portion of our program. And that is community partnerships. Hey, Sara, could you share the Google Doc? Let's talk about this first. All right. So this was a big one. Greco's is a client, and Barter Theater approached us. Hey, we're trying to promote people taking restaurant food out to the moonlight. We want to come in and do a video for you. So I said, yes, we're going to take that one step further, and we're going to create a Barter Theater pita pack. So we took a product that we already had, which was this, easy to go meal, and we renamed it Barter Theater Pita Pack. And if you'll just click on that video, so Terrence with Barter came in and did this video for us, and I'll just let you see it. Is that working for you guys?
I'm not hearing sound.
No sound here.
No sound.
I think it's because I was muted. Can you hear me?
Hey, thanks, Mustafa. Wow, this is a lot of food for one person, as you can see, and that is because it's designed for 4 to 6 people. Y'all, there is so much food here. You've got 3 different options. You've got chicken, you've got lamb gyro, and you've got falafel if you're a vegetarian, or if you just like falafel like I do. Okay, oh my goodness, you've got a ton of hummus here, and you've got the fried pita. Y'all, if you have not had the fried pita yet, you want to do yourself a favor and get yourself some fried pita here. Okay, enough chit chat for me. I think it's time for me to dig into this Barter Theater pita pack. Here it is. Oh. This is so good. I'm getting a little emotional how good this is. This is so good. Oh my gosh. This is so good, Mustafa. This is so good. Oh my goodness. Greco's does have a drive-thru if you want to hit the drive-thru, or you can come inside. My friends and I eat Greco's all the time, and the drive-thru is super useful for when we gotta get going. Oh, y'all, this is so good. I'm gonna keep eating all of this amazing food. Come to Barter and come to Greco's. Get yourself a Barter Theater pita pack. You will not be disappointed. I'm gonna keep eating. I'll see y'all soon. Oh.
If y'all don't know Terrence, he works at Barter Theater, and he's really fun, and he's done this for other businesses as well. But Greco's took it one step further and went ahead and called, the meal Barter Theater Pita Pack. This promotion lived on Barter's website. It lived on our online online menu. So that was just an example of, really working together. Sara, would you mind showing that video or the document that I sent? At the very, very bottom, there's a picture of spotted color. I'm going to call out Hanna again. It's on down. It's a picture. There we go. So Hanna did this great float for the Abingdon Christmas Parade. She got herself some volunteers, which happens to be our board president, the Virginia Highlands Festival board president, and Terrence Jackson, who is also our performing arts chair. And this is one way that made sense for all around. It was really so just examples of how you can partner with your community. Always be talking, always be brainstorming with each other. I love what Hanna and Green Cove is, they're going to talk about. And it's free. It doesn't cost a thing to work together. All right. I will email you guys this document that I have with the links. It has my information. It has Sara's and Carrie's and also Hanna's. So that'll be, in one spot for you guys. I appreciate your time. I appreciate Tanya and Sandy asking me to come along, and I very much appreciate the women who have joined me tonight. I can't thank you guys enough, and I wish you all success. And if I can be of service or help in any way, please let me know.
Okay, guys, here's your chance. Anybody have any other questions for all of these ladies?
Not right now, but great presentation. You guys were really solid and a ton of information. I think that's why there's probably not a lot of questions, because you really did a great job of covering and interlocking everything. So that's super impressive.
Well, please feel free to reach out. You have their contact information, and they'll be sharing some more information with you guys, and reach out anytime that you might need the services that they have to offer or questions that you might have. They'll be super helpful. Kathy, you have anything to add?
No, ma'am, you're doing a good job.
Okay. Well, I guess if nobody has questions,
I just want to do a reminder. Next week is all about Where's the Money. We'll have Ernie Maddie with Virginia Community Capital, Jeremy Repass with People Incorporated, and Kate Belcher with First Community Bank. This is another one of those sessions that there'll be that you have an opportunity to ask tons of questions about. First of all, how you prepare before you go seeking financing. What does a lender look for? And all those kind of things. So come prepared with those questions. And just out of curiosity, how is everybody doing with their business plan?
Pretty good.
Good. Excellent. And don't forget to work on your business pitch, because in 2 weeks, that's when you're doing it. You're going to entertain us and convince us to give you money. So get prepared. Thanks, everybody. Also, Christine, Carrie, Sara, Haley, thank you so much for your time. I know it's been a long day, but you are the reason that this program is a success, because we have entrepreneurs that give of their time and share their knowledge when it's needed. And I see, Kathy, you got a question or comment?
I just remembered that we have some folks that are in the tourism business, and you want to tell them about our noon knowledge tomorrow?
Oh, yes, tomorrow at noon. Steve Gallion and Christine Johnson with Virginia Tourism Corporation is going to be leading our noon knowledge all about setting up a tourism business. As you know, tourism is a growing industry in Southwest Virginia that is creating jobs and new revenue opportunities for folks, because we knew that there's beauty here, but let's share it with others. So if you're interested, come on over, and you can find the link on the incubators website or the chambers, or you can go to vastartup.org and you can find the link to the Zoom, or if you want it, just let me know and I'll send you the link. But that's a great opportunity. Again, get prepared, because tourism is going to impact your businesses, everyone in here, of some way, shape, or form. So it's better that you get to know it. So,
Andy, would you just go ahead and just share that link with everybody? So
that's a long link, and I couldn't do it with peanut butter in my mouth. But I'll tell you what. After this, I'll send everybody the link so that you have it.
Yeah, then they'll have it. They want to attend. It'd be easy enough for them to get to it.
And sometimes you can't. Go ahead.
Just a little correction. You said website. It's the incubator Facebook page. It'll be on Facebook Live tomorrow on the Facebook page.
Well, it'll be after the session, but I think you list all the upcoming links or events on your page. But anyway, I'll send it to you. Don't worry about it. Red Rover, I'll send it right over. So again, thanks everybody. Be a blessing to somebody tomorrow and for the rest of the week. That's what we need in this world. So thank you again, and can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye. Good night.